Beyond just our local areas, we look across the country and around the world. We've got a lot to get to today. Let's start off with a look at our headlines. Air quality alerts for so much of the northeast U.S. back through the Ohio River Valley and up around the Great Lakes region. Dangerous air quality and those conditions for many folks due to the wildfire smoke. I will have more on that. We're also going to focus on the flooding that continues to be a very serious problem down in Texas. It's been incredible, the amount of water that's fallen over central and now western parts of Texas. We'll talk some more about that. I've got your severe weather outlook. We're in good shape today here in the mid-Atlantic, but a good section of the northeast U.S. will be under severe weather outlook for your day tomorrow. And then I think on Sunday, much of Hampton Roads into North Carolina also under an elevated risk for severe storms. So we may have some pretty big storms to deal with later in the weekend. We'll talk about that. We also have an update on the European wildfires. You know, France and Spain, they've been dealing with wildfires, and it's been a big issue there. We focus so much on what's happened here in the United States, but it's an issue overseas as well. We're also keeping an eye on the tropics. We still have our two areas of interest in the Atlantic and some more activity showing up in the Pacific. Right now, we've got one named system out there that could become a hurricane and another one that could form. So we'll talk about both of those. And I guess the big question on a lot of folks' minds, when is this hot pattern for the mid-Atlantic and so much of the eastern U.S., when's it going to flip? Well, the extended outlook shows some promise for some cooler weather, and we'll get into that as well. We're going to start off by talking about our weather impact alert, and this is for the smoke and the poor air quality through today. And again, it was yesterday and today. So we made it through Thursday. Now we get through today. We've got the air quality alert, and sensitive groups really want to stay indoors. Hampton Roads is under this because of the poor air quality. Let's take a look at conditions in Virginia Beach this morning. You can see the smoke is really starting to creep in across the south side. The skies have been gray, and we've had that smoke kind of working its way down closer to the surface. So it's become a bigger hazard. Virginia isn't the only state dealing with the haze. Here's a live look at smoke blanketing the Detroit skyline. Look at how bad it is up there. Sophie Flay has a look at the conditions across the country.
This morning, massive plumes of wildfire smoke choking the Midwest and Northeast for a third day. 115 million Americans are under air quality alerts across 19 states. From Chicago to Detroit to New York, some of America's biggest cities shrouded in a thick orange haze, skylines vanishing, the smoke blotting out the sun. In Philadelphia, the Mets-Phillies game had to be moved up 1 hour because of the smoke.
Not the greatest idea, I guess, to come out here and play in this type of weather, but, you know, we're doing it.
The FAA slowing arrivals into Philadelphia's airport, pilots seeing ash in the air.
Yeah, it's adhering to the windshield. I've never seen it stick to the windshield like this.
Milwaukee reporting its worst air quality on record. In Toledo, Ohio, readings topped 800. Anything over 300 is considered hazardous.
When you get to these burgundy dots, that's hazardous.
When the air quality index tops 200, experts advise everyone to wear a mask. And the threat could linger. More than 850 fires are still burning across Canada, with 30 new fires in the past day alone. Meanwhile, in Texas, a different disaster. Walls of water inundating hill country. In Uvalde, this rescue from the air. A state helicopter crew dropping down to a flooded home and lifting out this family, along with their 2 dogs. Receding waters revealing the devastation.
And in this Kerrville neighborhood, the power of the floodwaters is just undeniable. It rammed this SUV up the tree and another car into the house.
At least 2 people were killed when they were swept away by floods. A woman in her car and a man in his RV. This RV park was hit hard, but everyone here got out before the flood. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Those flooding images from Texas are so difficult to look at. And again, we're going to have a lot more on the flooding in just a moment. Before we get to that, I want to revisit the air quality here in Hampton Roads. Again, poor air quality and an air quality alert. This is for all of the Virginia part of our viewing area here, southeast Virginia, the eastern shore, up through northern and central parts of Virginia. Most of Virginia, get out to the west, the extreme west, not under it, but I'd say about 80% of the Commonwealth under the air quality alerts. All of Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, parts of New York. You can see even southern Connecticut, and then across the Ohio River Valley. It is so bad up through here. This is where it's truly hazardous for all people to be breathing with those high levels of smoke down to the ground. Take a look at the plumes. Again, those wildfires well to the north, but the smoke is coming back down still across the area, and we're going to see it increasing a bit here in Hampton Roads. We've got code red off to the north, unhealthy. This is what's happening right now. We're actually at code yellow, moderate in Hampton Roads, but as we take a look, you're going to see some of that smoke to the north working back to the south later today. That's why we anticipate code orange, and that's why we have our outlook for the air quality alerts and our weather impact alert. We'll continue to keep you updated on that. Now, we want to turn our attention down to Texas and Hill Country. Again, Kerr County, we talk so much about it. This flooding has been incredible. And for those folks living in Texas Hill Country, this is the same area that was hit a year ago. Take a look at the conditions again. This is in Kerr County, where the Guadalupe River has been rapidly rising for days. This is, again, the same exact area where flooding killed more than 130 people on the 4th of July in 2025. And of those, 25 were young girls at Camp Mystic. This time around, up to 20 inches of rain have soaked the land. In some places, more than 2 feet of rain, very localized, but it's led to dozens of water rescues. The mayor and residents say what happened last year helped them prepare for the flooding they've experienced the last few days.
We were blessed in Kerr County with warnings, and I'm thankful that those warnings saved lives. Having to be in front of you again so soon after last year's flood is hard.
This year, I think everybody we got a lot of phone warnings. I think that was helpful. After last year, I mean, you always got like the flash flood warning. Nobody took it into consideration. It was like, oh, it's a sprinkle right now. I think this year people actually, like the RV park, we were right beside it yesterday evening, that they fully evacuated. I mean, everybody kind of got to higher ground.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says first responders have rescued more than 230 people in central Texas. But here's the good news again, the Guadalupe River is finally starting to recede. I want to show you what's happening right now. Rain still falling across central portions of Texas. There are still numerous warnings. Now they're a little farther to the west. Still technically a flood advisory for Kerrville. But again, the rain that's fallen, it charged the ground. The Guadalupe came up, and now it is starting to recede a little bit. Heavier rain continues, though, back towards Sonora and back towards Big Lake. There is still very intense rainfall. We'll continue to monitor that. As far as the severe, or I should say the flooding outlook for flash flooding, you can see there's still a level 2 of 4 risk. It is still likely we'll see some additional flash flooding for West Texas into the southwest part of New Mexico and across central Arizona. We also have into Saturday still some areas that have a likelihood of that additional flooding. And then even into Sunday, there's a lower risk, but it's still possible they could see some more. Want to go back to the maps? Let's take this full because we have to talk about the severe weather outlook and what's going on. Again, central portions of the country from the Ohio River Valley down through eastern Kentucky, Tennessee, and down through Georgia here. We do have the potential. It's level 1, but a marginal risk for severe weather, slight elevated risk for tornadoes off to the north. Here's what you need to know for Hampton Roads. We have additional weather impact alerts for Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, the chances level 2. That's a slight risk for us. Off to the north, we have the elevated risk of tornadoes from Philly to New York, Binghamton to Buffalo, back through Erie and Cleveland and Pittsburgh. For our area, it's not tornadoes, maybe a little bit of hail just off to the north, but most likely the winds will be the concerns. And then on Sunday, again, that risk moves south, but it still includes Hampton Roads. So both Saturday and Sunday, we have the potential for the severe weather. I'll have a lot more on that with our local forecast. Right now, we're going to take a break. Coming up, wildfires still burning across Europe. We'll have a closer look at the conditions in Spain and France. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. You know, it's not just the United States and Canada that's been dealing with the wildfires. Over in Europe, crews have been working to put out deadly fires in places like Spain and France. Now, it's been going on for days. Meteorologist Taylor Stephenson has a look at their progress.
Europe is facing one of its hottest summers on record, and now firefighters are battling massive blazes in France and Spain. According to a CNN affiliate in France, nearly 2,000 acres have burned in the Fontainebleau forest. This video shows firefighting planes scooping water from the river Seine as part of efforts to get the fire under control. The French Interior Minister says police are investigating whether the fire was started deliberately. Areas in France are under extreme high temperature warnings on Monday as highs soar to the 90s. And in Spain, at least 12 people are dead as a large wildfire is burning through parts of Spain's southern coast. Officials say residents have been forced to leave their homes as about 150 emergency crews battle the flames. A regional governor is calling the blaze the most devastating fire the area has ever seen. Last week, Barcelona's high temperature hit nearly 105 degrees, the highest temperature recorded in over 100 years. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson.
All right, Taylor, thank you for that update. You can see right now Spain in pretty good shape as far as they're not dealing with stormy weather back across Paris, northern parts of France. So we see some cloud cover. Right now, the Bordeaux area looking at partly cloudy skies. As we take a look at temperatures, and these are current temperatures across the area, we can go ahead and reveal still pretty warm there. Bordeaux around 88, 90 in Madrid. As you look at Geneva, 86. The heat really stronger and higher back across Budapest and Sarajevo, back through Rome, 97 degrees. So still hot across portions of Europe, especially down to the south. It's a little cooler up towards London. All right, coming up, we're going to track the tropics for you. 2 spots we're keeping an eye on in the Atlantic. Stay tuned for more on that. Welcome back. We're going to track the tropics for you. And as we get into the outlook, I wanted to share a couple of the headlines from Hurricane Hub Live. And I'll tell you more on that and where you can always catch the full tropical update with Tim Pandagis coming up. We're still watching 2 areas in the Atlantic. Alida strengthens, hasn't become a hurricane yet, but it likely will in the eastern Pacific. And we're not done there. There's another area that now has a 90% chance for developing into our next named system. That should happen later if not today or tomorrow, certainly within the next 7 days, very likely we get our next system. So we'll talk about that. Here in the Atlantic Basin, we still have this whole area we were watching. If you watched yesterday, the outlook area included just a little bit of the northeastern Gulf and more area along the southeast coast. Well, this area for potential development has shifted just a little farther to the west of where it was. It now includes areas all the way out to the edge or the tip of the Florida Panhandle, almost to Mobile Bay. This area, again, only about a 20% chance for development over the next 7 days. We're not seeing too much. I was talking to Tim about this last evening, and it looks like even if something were to develop, which isn't very likely, but if something were to get organized, it will likely move off and away. So not overly concerned with that. 20% chance for development there. Back over closer to Cabo Verde, we have another area, but only a 10% chance for development. I think this is going to have a hard time because there is more Saharan dust set to come off the African coast. And again, anything that does develop is just going to have a harder time moving along. That's why only a 10% chance. Eventually that dust continues. Just plumes of it continue to work back across the main development region and back over towards the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and the Greater Antilles. So we'll continue to monitor all of that. For now, things are looking pretty good here in the Atlantic. Just those two areas. We'll watch this and we'll continue to monitor that, but chances still relatively low for development. Here is our tropical storm, maybe becoming a hurricane later today. That's in the forecast. Then we've got another area here we're watching. Let me give you the outlooks. First of all, here is Alida with a 5 a.m. update. Maximum wind 65. So not quite to hurricane strength yet, but kind of knocking at the door. Should become a hurricane later today, tonight, or tomorrow. Cat 1 expected, may get a little stronger, but it's actually expected to weaken pretty quickly back to a remnant low as we get into early next week. So we'll see if this becomes a hurricane or not, but it really isn't bringing much impact to land, sending out a little wave activity, but that's it. So we'll keep an eye to Alida. Now, what else is going on out there? We had an area here. This is already past Hawaii. The Hawaiian Islands are fine. That's already to the south. Got another area with a slight chance of development here. This area here as it goes over the next few days, but it's well off the Mexican coast. And this area here is the one that now actually has a 70%. I know this graphic says 60. That was a chance earlier, but that's just updated to a 70% chance for development over the next couple of days and 90% chance over the next 7 days. If this does become a tropical system, and there's a good chance, obviously it will, it would take the name Fausto. That's the next name on the Pacific list. All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to have a lot more on our local weather. I want to remind you, though, if you are interested, I highly recommend you check out a more in-depth look at what's happening in the tropics. Make sure to watch Hurricane Hub Live. That's with Tim Pandagis. It airs every weeknight at 8 o'clock right here on the 13 News Now app. You can see it's smoky out there. We're going to take this break, and right after it, I'll have a look ahead to the weekend and when this pattern is going to flip. All right, welcome back to the Weather Desk. That is a look at the conditions down at the ocean front right now. Not a lot of wind, but a little bit of a light onshore flow. You see the flags blowing towards the camera. That means those winds are coming in from the northeast, and they're only about 5 miles per hour, maybe 5 to 10 right there at the beaches, but a light wind. Generally today, we will see smoky sunshine and varying amounts, every once in a while a couple of clouds. Surf height only 1 to 2 feet. The rip current threat is low. Our water temperature 80 degrees. It's like bath water pretty much. You step out there, you're like, hey, this isn't cold at all. UV index, it is high today, so despite the smoke, you're still capable of getting a sunburn if you don't protect your skin. Got to take care of that. All right, on the water today, we have the winds again coming from the northwest early, but shifting to the northeast, 5 to 10 knots on the bay and the ocean. Seas 1 to 2 feet for both the ocean waters east of Virginia Beach and the Chesapeake Bay. High tide comes at 12:20 this afternoon, and the low tide around 6:30 this evening. We'll take a look at the forecast today. Temperatures have been fairly comfortable this morning, but the humidity is what's been so rough. It's interesting. Our forecast model here that we're plotting this from, this is largely based on the graph model, trying to project a couple of sprinkles around here. I don't think we're going to see that. Again, this is an outlying model. I think generally we're looking at hazy sunshine. But if we do get a stray sprinkle, don't be shocked. Temperatures today, upper 80s right at the beaches, and then low 90s. I think Norfolk officially at the airport close to 91 today. Inland areas will be warmer, and we have a heat advisory for northeast North Carolina. So let's look at that smoky sky over Norfolk. Again, not a great look here, but you see it from the tower, how it's smoky there. It's one of our Thompson Creek Window Company sky views. The feels like temperatures today up around 100. So even though air temperatures are only around 90, once that humidity factors in, it feels pretty nasty out there. And tomorrow, we're going to likely have a heat advisory. I expect one. Remember, we already have a weather impact alert tomorrow for the potential for severe storms late in the day tomorrow. But we may as well just give you that heads up. A heat advisory is likely for Hampton Roads tomorrow with those hotter conditions, upper 90s for highs. 92 on Sunday, back to 88 on Monday, staying hot Tuesday and Wednesday. But remember how I said the pattern would flip later on? As we get into the end of next week and the upcoming weekend, we are going to be several degrees below the normal high of 90. I think low to mid 80s, maybe by Saturday, mid 80s on Sunday. So really, after having this hot stretch that we've had for the past several days and some of the dangerous heat, the heat advisory today down across North Carolina, the heat continues through Wednesday, then the pattern flips by the end of next week. Here's a look at the satellite and the radar images. Again, you're not seeing much. The model tries to pop a little shower there. Again, this is the graph model. As we go forward in time, though, generally dry conditions today and tonight, early tomorrow looking okay. But that heat builds, and then that chance for storms late Saturday coming through the area. As we get into Sunday, better chances for scattered showers and storms to develop. You see that during the afternoon and then down to the south, some of these stronger storms potentially. Gusty winds is the primary concern. This activity will move out late Sunday night. There will still be chances for a few hit or miss showers or storms Monday and into Tuesday and Wednesday as well. All right, grass pollen is moderate. Weeds and mold continue to be low. Temperatures today in the low 90s across the south side, mid 90s inland, low risk of a shower trying to pop up today. I think we're in pretty good shape. Smoky sunshine and a few clouds off to the north. Temperatures hotter down south. Heat advisory for northeast North Carolina. Lows tonight near 78. Tomorrow we've got the heat, dangerous heat, and that chance for strong to severe storms late in the day. We're going to find the temperatures staying pretty warm on Sunday, low 90s, more scattered storms. It'll become more isolated on Monday, just a few isolated storms potentially there, and on Tuesday as well. By Wednesday, more scattered activity, I think more coverage, and then by Thursday, we start to dry it out. We should enjoy drier conditions Friday and into Saturday as well. All right, want to remind you, you can always stay connected with us here at 13 News Now. When you download the mobile app, you can scan that QR code. That app is free and available at Google Play and at the App Store. We just hope you enjoy these weather segments. We certainly like to bring them to you. Lots of information, weather headlines, not only for Hampton Roads, but across the country, around the world, and sometimes space and climate stories as well. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time from the Weather Desk.